Hi everyone, welcome to RS Academy. This is Sunil. In this video, we are going to discuss regarding testing hypothesis. Okay, so first we'll see what is statistical hypothesis, and then the definition of testing hypothesis and the steps whatever we need to solve a testing hypothesis problem. Okay, so first, a statistical hypothesis. A statistical hypothesis is nothing but a statement about the nature of population that may be either right or wrong. It is often stated in terms of a population parameter. So, a statistical hypothesis is nothing but a statement regarding any population. So, it may be right or it may be wrong. If I says in a population of 100%, 95% of the people are good. So, it is a statement, and whatever I said, it may be true or it may be false. So, always this statement is based upon population parameter. It means population size, population mean value, population average value, whatever it may be. If we want to express regarding any person, as we take the characteristics of that person, in a similar manner, when we want to express a statistical hypothesis, then we will consider parameters of a population. So, parameters means mean value or average value of a population or whatever it may be like that. Okay. So, coming to testing hypothesis. So, whatever a statement said or whatever a statistical hypothesis may be, if we want to test that, so whether we have to accept it or we have to reject it, so then we will use a testing hypothesis. Testing hypothesis is nothing but a systematic procedure. What is it? It's a procedure, it's a process by which we decide, we conclude whether to accept or reject the hypothesis. It is a systematic procedure for deciding whether to accept or reject the hypothesis. Clear? So, a statistical hypothesis means it is a statement. It may be right or it may be wrong. So, testing hypothesis concluding that whether it is a right, whether to accept or to reject by a systematic procedure. Clear? So, to solve this testing hypothesis, we need 5 steps. Okay? So, we will look over each step orderly. First step, statement of hypothesis. Whatever in the question they has given a condition. If we note that as if it is a true, it is called null hypothesis. As if the question was given in a question, the condition, we copied the same condition as a true, it's called null hypothesis without any difference. Okay, without any change, the condition from the question we have copied, then it's called null hypothesis. So, look, a definite statement about the population parameter denoted by H naught, usually a null hypothesis written as no difference, as it is we had copied from the question. H naught mu is equal to mu naught. Okay. Next statement of hypothesis, alternative hypothesis. What did it? It is contradict to null hypothesis. It is contradict. It means that here mu is equal to mu naught. So, here mu is not equal to mu naught. It's a two-tailed test. It depends upon question whether we have to take two-tail or one-tail. In alternate hypothesis, there are two-tail test or right one-tail test or left one-tail test. Among them, we can take any one, depends upon question. In question, if they say not equal to, then two-tail. In question, if they said mu value is greater than some value, then it is right tail. If it is less than some value, then left one tail. Okay? So, after writing the statements of hypothesis, next we have to specify the level of significance. In question, they may give like 1%, 5%, 10%. If they didn't give it in question, then we have to consider 5%. So, what does this level of significance means? How much percent there is a chance of rejection. This is called level of significance. If we take 5% of chance to reject it and 95% chance of to accept it. If we take 1% regarding with the question, then 1% of rejection and 99% of acceptance. If you take 10%, then 10% of rejection and 90% of acceptance. Okay, if there is no mention of any level of significance, then we will consider as 5%. Okay, next identification of test stat. So depend upon the sample size, we have to take the test. If the sample size is large, it means greater than 30, then we will consider Z test. If sample size is less than 30, then we will consider T test. Okay, if sample size is large, we will consider Z test. If sample size is small, then we will consider T test. Once when we identify the test, then we are supposed to use that formula. If it means Z test, you have to use Z formula and Z tabular form. Okay, and next critical region, step for critical region. So we have to identify the critical region from the tabular form. So if it is Z test and here it's a two-tailed, so two-tailed and here 5%. So based on two-tailed and 5% of level of significance, we have to find the critical region from the Z table. It's clear? If it is T-test, then we have to find based on it's a two-tailed or one-tailed, based on 5%, 1%, based on the tabular form, we have to find this critical value. Clear? And last, making decision. So whatever the calculated value with the help of a formula, we have taken either Z or T test. So that value and the critical value or tabular value should be compared. If the calculated value is equal to or it's less than critical value, then we'll accept null hypothesis. Then we'll accept the condition which is there in question. If it's not like that, the calculated value is greater than critical value, then we'll reject the null hypothesis. Clear? Look over here, by comparing the calculated value and the critical value, decision is taken from accepting or rejecting if calculated value is less than or equal to critical value, we accept H0 null hypothesis. It's clear? So simply step 1, we have to write the statement. It consists of null hypothesis statement and alternate hypothesis statement. In null hypothesis statement, we will write as it is from the question, and in alternate hypothesis, it's contradict to the null hypothesis. In this, there are two tailed, right one tailed, left one tailed. Any among three, we will take one. Okay. Next, specification of level of significance. We will make either 5 or 1 or 10 depending upon the question. If they didn't give anything, then we will consider 5% as a level of significance. It means that 5% of rejection and 95% of acceptance. And next, depending upon the sample size, we will select the Z test or T test. After that, depending upon the alternative hypothesis and level of significance, we will find the critical region value. Okay, after assigning critical region value, step 5 is a making decision by comparing the calculated value and critical value. So if calculated value is less than or equal to the critical or tabular value, then we will accept the null hypothesis. If it's not like that, if the calculated value is more than the critical value, then we will reject null hypothesis. Clear? And the errors in testing hypothesis. So in testing hypothesis, there are two types of error. One is type 1 error and another is type 2 error. In type 1 error, even the hypothesis statement is true, we will reject that. In type 2 error, even the hypothesis statement is false, we will accept it. It means that in type 1 error, it's a type where we will reject a good person thinking that he is a bad. And in type 2 error, we will accept a bad guy feeling that he is a good guy. Is it clear? In type 1 error, rejecting a good person. In type 2 error, accepting a bad guy. It means that we have been assuming a wrong and we have been accepting the person who should not accept. And we are rejecting the person who should not reject. Clear? So these two types of errors can be eradicated by taking large size of sample, so that these type of errors can be eradicated. Clear? So this is totally regarding the testing hypothesis. Whoever want to take the screenshot, they can take the screenshot. And don't forget to mention the topics, whatever you want for the next videos. Comment in comment section. Thank you for watching. Do share and subscribe our channel.